The first word I felt dropping in from Spirit was busy, and the word busy and our relationship with busyness. And I thought, okay, that's a nice word to start with. Okay, let's start with that. As I'm working with the word busyness, it's like we go through life trying to fit everything into a busy schedule that we seem to create. This idea that we have some sort of control over our time, and we prop it in with things to do and things in our life where we feel we have to get things done, and we tend to find ourselves leaning forward in our lives instead of more relaxed leaning back. As we lean forward, we're working forwards to get things done. So we're in our doingness. In our doingness, we are doing things. And yet we are not relaxing and being in our beingness, you see. Relationship, the moment that we're born, we're taught about this relationship with time, and this relationship with time where we think we've got limited time to get things done. And so this limited time to get things done, we tend to make our schedules, prop in the things that we feel that we need to do, keep ourselves occupied with things that limits our time. And yet a lot of us, I hear, are saying, I wish I had more time. In that, I had this voice from Spirit when I was teaching the other day, and the voice from Spirit, don't forget Einstein's time. Einstein's time. So I looked it up on Google, what is Einstein's time? And it was actually the relationship of the perceiver with time. So when you shift your perception to time, time can go slowly. Like imagine when you're hungry and you're waiting for something to cook, time goes slowly. Or if you're bored, time goes slowly. If you're excited and you're enjoying yourself, time flies by. And people said the time flew by. That was great. So we find that this relationship with time, and that's what Einstein had written about, which was that it's the perceiver's perception is the relationship with time. So it's the perception, what you perceive is what you create. When we shift our relationship with time, we can give ourselves more time, more space, more room. When we shift out of doingness, which is having to get things done, into our beingness of, well, I can just be. I don't need to do, right? But you can still do things, but from a different perspective. For when you shift into your beingness, you're shifting into your like resonance of purpose, you see. And when you're in your doingness, you're out of purpose, you're out of sync, you're limited, your time, you're stretching yourself, you're moving yourself forward, and yet out of the consciousness of beingness, that you don't need to do to be better, you don't need to change to be the best version of yourself. For when we look at it through the eyes of Spirit, or when we look at it through the eyes of the divine, you are at this present moment the best version of self that you can be today. Now you might have had like a topsy-turvy day like this, but you got through it, and you are the best version of yourself that got through this topsy-turvy day. And when you think about these days that can be quite extreme sometimes, with life putting different things in our path, and we feel that we're being tested, or things are moving us out of alignment. But when we're in our doingness, we tend to be in reaction. We tend to be in that reaction of, I need to change, I need to fix, I need to help someone, I need to heal someone, I need to be there for someone, I need to be perfect, I need to, I need to be the best version of myself. I need to, and all this needing to do is not when we're in our beingness of everything is good as it is today. For the greatest gift that you can give to this world is the present moment yourself. You are the present that this world needs. Without you, there would be no balance like it is today. For we forget the energy of you is what's needed. You are the ingredient that is needed. You are this ingredient within this great, if we just look at this Zoom room, you are the ingredient that's needed to make this magical feeling of energy come together. For it's your soul, your spirit, your energy that is emanating into this room just like it's needed. If we were a cauldron of soup, we would be fantastic, full of flavors, immersed in this beauty and richness and depth of wisdom that we'd all picked up from our life. And yet, when we're in our doingness, we just don't see it. When we're in our doingness, we're out of sync and we're not realizing the presence of ourselves. It's not when we actually really just home on in and say, right, okay, I accept myself as being that imperfect, perfect person on a journey to self-discovery. And maybe today I might not be my best self in my conscious mind, but I know I'm on a journey and I know I'm moving forward. And yet I'm still perfect in that imperfect idea I have in my mind about myself. You see, so and that's a good one, that I'm perfect in my idea about myself within my mind, you see, because most of us will be either in the teacher self that says you could do a lot better. If I had a teacher like my mind, it would be the worst teacher ever that would tell me off all the time. And if I had a parent like my mind, it would be the worst parent ever that would tell me you're not good enough. And yet, when we shift into our beingness and we realize that standing or sitting or just experiencing within the divineness of who you are, the openness of who you are, accepting yourself as being this mixture of change, this transformation. Biologically, you're not the same person as you was yesterday, because yesterday all your cells were different. They've all changed and rejuvenated over time, and today your cells are different, so you are literally a different person than yesterday. And yet we still hold on to yesterday. And yet we know yesterday all our troubles seem so far away, and yet we hold on to these troubles instead of letting go and moving in, shifting into today and being in the presence of the oneness of who we are today. For that is the gift that you can bring today. And your beingness, your spirit, your soul could be the greatest medicine that someone needs today. But they wouldn't receive it the right way if you were in your doingness and not in your beingness, because you'd miss it. And they might miss it because you'd be walking past them too quickly. But if you check in and you just become that moment of presence of who you are, you could be the best medicine that someone needs today. Just being that presence of who you are. And like I said before, when I was saying about the divine essence of how the divine sees us as being that perfect person who we are, and who our spirit and loved ones in spirit will look down on us and say, we're perfect the way we are. It's really just shifting into that presence of wonder, the wonderment of life. For when we're in our beingness, we can see the miracles in life. But when you don't look, you're not going to see anything that's different. You're not going to see any changes within your life. It's only when you actually attune yourself to presence, and you look outside in nature and you look outside in your life, and things can happen and bring you just what you need. For when you are open to receive whatever wonders life can bring you wonders. The little story about me when I wasn't expecting a wander. I was in Canada at the time, and I just wanted to go for a walk, and I just wanted to see the eagles, because I was fascinated. There's always something with me with these eagles. I just have this connection with them. I had to go and see them. And I was walking down this trail where the eagles are always there. And when I got there, I realised I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't see a single eagle. All I could see was little brown blobs sitting on branches with little white blobs above them, which would be their heads. And I was like, oh, why did I forget my glasses? If only I had my glasses. So I sent out a sort of a prayer or a sign to them, and I just said to the eagles, "Look, I'm laughing, I'm so sorry, but I really wanted to see you. Could you please just come a little closer so I can really see you for who you are?" And within 1 minute, an eagle with the wings out like this flew in front of me, about this far away from me. It dived down in front of me all the way through, and I was in wonder of, is this the way it really works? Is this really possible? I asked for it and it happened. So me in my disbelief, scratching my head, thinking I didn't have my camera. So I said to the eagles, can you do that again, please? Because that was just amazing. And another eagle just came down in front of me out like that, did the same thing. And I was just so struck with, this is just amazing. How can this be possible? Am I dreaming? I still didn't have time to take a picture. But when I was walking back along the pathway, contemplating how magical it was, all I did was ask, and it was given. And yet, many times in our life, we might be thinking, I wonder what will happen if I just asked and was open to receive. And for me, that was the moment that made me realize that you just need to be open to receiving and ask in a loving way, and things can happen almost instantly. So if you ask yourself today, are you open to see a wonder, or are you open to discover something new? Are you open to see your own wonderment or miracle, whatever you'd like to call it? But you won't see it if you're in your busy life, running forwards, missing it all, concentrating on where you're going, instead of leaning back and opening your eyes and looking all around you. Just imagine the beauty that you will see, and just imagine what would happen if you were open to receiving. Another thing I like to say to people is, if you're in your presence of your own self and you're just being the best version that you can be today, even if you feel that you're in that imperfect, perfect moment of yourself, just being that is enough. Just see what happens around you, within your environment, if you change yourself to being instead of doing. You'll notice that people will change with you. Thank you.